Hey, you. Yeah, you. Focaccia. You heard what I said. Focaccia. This is one of my favorite breads. However, it's a 2-day process. At the very least. Could go on for 3 days. But we need at least the first night's rise on this dough. So we're going to do some focaccia. Start tonight. It's Friday night. TGIFF. No typo. And we'll pick it up tomorrow on Saturday. So let's get it going first, though. Over to the board. Come on. Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. All right. The first thing we're going to do tonight, I got everything out on the counter here. Bread flour, some water. We got instant yeast, a little bit of sugar, kosher salt, a little extra virgin olive oil at the end. So let's start with our dry ingredients. Got a nice big bowl here. Let's switch to grams. And we're going to go with 512 grams of this bread flour. That's 12.7% protein. $5.15. Let's pull a little bit out. We want $5.12. Right on the money. There we go. Now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of kosher salt and 2 teaspoons of our instant yeast. So we shouldn't have to proof this, and it's pretty new. I just picked it up last week, so it should be quite lively. And even though it's instant yeast, I always like to go with just a few grains, a little pinch of salt. Give that yeast something to munch on. Get it going. Not as much as the yeast or salt, just a little bit. So let's just kind of whisk the dry stuff together. And now we want some warm water. And as I mentioned, I have a cup and a half here, but here's a little trick I learned. We want 2 cups of water, but we want warm water. So to 1.5, I'm going to add a half cup that I had boiling. So that should give us the right temperature for the yeast. Let's give it a test. 92.8. I think that's good. Let's go in with 2 cups of water. And let's get this nice and mixed. Yeah, the instant yeast, I already smell it. So I don't think we're going to have any problem with this dough rising. Get all that flour wet. Okay, look how beautifully this came together. All that water's absorbed. I can already smell the yeast starting to get active. So now, look how wet and sticky this is. That's what you want for this focaccia. Same thing when you're making like a ciabatta. When I first started making breads, this would scare me. And I'd start adding more flour. I thought this was wrong. But the more you start getting used to working with different bread doughs, different hydrations, particularly with the sourdough, you start getting used to it. And this wet, sticky dough is just exactly what we want. And this is going to go in the fridge all night. But first, let's get a little olive oil on top. Keep it from skinning up overnight. Let's get some plastic on here. You could use a wet towel or one of those cloth bowl covers if you have it. I'm just going to go with the old cling wrap. And I'm going to get this in the refrigerator. It's 9 p.m. It's got all night. And we'll talk on Saturday morning. But let me pop this in the fridge and then meet me back here, right here. Don't go anywhere, because we want to do one more thing before I call it a night. All right, into the fridge. I'll see you back here. Okay, before I call it a night, that dough is in the fridge, nice slow overnight rise. I want to make a little sort of a spread, almost like an olive tapenade. And I want to do this now so that it has all night to marry up. So I've got some Kalamata olives, little green cabbage left over. I'm just improvising. It was in the fridge. But I went to the YMCA yesterday. They have this great farm market on Thursdays. Stuff grown at the farm hub, mostly by teenagers. Got a beautiful red onion. And then I've got my garlic from 2023. As a matter of fact, I want to try to get this year's garlic in before Thanksgiving. Pickled cherry peppers and pickled banana peppers, which are just fantastic. A little oregano. And this is actually last year's dried basil. But if you dry it properly, it smells fresh when you crush that, okay? So let me start with the red onion. I'll smash the garlic clove. Activate that Allison, right? Alright, everything's got a nice chop on it, and I busted out the old trusty Ninja. I think I talked about this many episodes back, actually. Sitting home one day, my neighbor across the street knocked on my front door. She's like, "You want this?" I have two of them. Brand new in the box, still sealed. I don't know how she wound up with two, if she ordered it in two, I don't remember. But don't look a gift horse in the mouth, or a gift ninja, as it were. Sure, I'll take that, Donna. Let's go with a few grains of salt. Cracker black. Let's go with just a few drops of white wine vinegar. And some extra virgin olive oil. Get the ninja top on and give it a whirl. All right, let's see how it tastes. Oh, man. Oh, doesn't need a thing. That is perfection. Oh, man. Oh, that's good. So I'm going to put this in the fridge and just let that sit overnight, and we'll see you all on Saturday. Beautiful Saturday morning. Low to mid 40s. Sun's just blaring. And I've got a written list of projects to get done this weekend. I keep my eye on the weather. When I know it's going to be nice out like this, I write them down. Get this done, get that done, get the other thing done. But first on my agenda, it's time to get back to that focaccia. It's been in the fridge all night. Let's go in the kitchen and have a look. Come on, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. This dough's been in the refrigerator. Well, it's 9:40 a.m. right now. I took it out around 9:15, and last night we were working. I put it in around 9 p.m., so 12 hours in the fridge. That is the minimal, and it started to blow up in that bowl before I went to sleep even. So I transferred it to the trusty old proofing box, and The aroma is just sensational. Look how light, a lot of air in there. See those bubbles? So, believe it or not, I'm going to bake this in the old Breville, courtesy my sisters being in Chile. Thank you again. I love this thing. I've cooked my meals for many, many years in toaster ovens, and this one's oversized. It's almost like having a second oven. I love this thing. And it comes with these great little sheet pan. I'm going to go with a little bit of parchment paper in the bottom. Let's get some olive oil on there. A couple tablespoons. Focaccia uses a good amount of oil. That's what makes it so delicious. Now, we're going to bust up some of that air. Let it deflate. Let's get it out here onto the sheet pan with the oil. Pretty good release. Not bad at all. And now what I did is I put a little water in this measuring cup just for my fingers. I do not want to add flour to this. So I'll give it a few folds. Let it collect oil on all sides. And we're not going to push it out yet. We're just going to let this sit uncovered, just like this, for 3 or 4 hours. Like I said, it's 10 a.m. That puts us at 2 p.m. This is going to be for supper tonight. Or, you know, late lunch, early supper. It's Saturday. There's no rush for anything. And the beauty of this focaccia thing is I've got 4 hours now to get outside and get her done. So I'll see you around 2 p.m. This is just going to sit room temperature right here on the counter. No cover. All right? We'll see you then. All right. I left you guys at 10 a.m. It is now 2:15. 4 hours and 15 minutes that dough has been uncovered, sitting on that counter, room temp, and don't mind the ratty get up. I've been outside. This is my, with respect to the great Dan Whitney, aka Larry the Cable Guy, this is my getting her done ensemble. All right, I've been non-stop the entire 4 hours outside, and now I am ready to pop this bread in the oven. I've got the Breville heating up to, well, technically you would go 425. I put it on 410 because I'm going to use the convection, and we'll see how we do. And so here comes the fun part. Over to the board. Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Okay, this is the fun part of making a focaccia. Look how nice and jiggly. The thing is filled with air. It's spread out nicely. Now the first thing I'm going to do is put a bunch of rosemary on top. This is dried rosemary, and I want to crush it well, because with these dried herbs, when you crush them, they release their scent. And I don't want to put too much. I don't want to overwhelm it. I want to taste the bread. You could put olives, you could put tomato, onion, but I want to keep this simple for what we're going to do with this later. And now some olive oil, tablespoon or so. And I've got this, technically you would want like a flaky, like a Malden sea salt. I don't have any, but I have this. I just showed you this in an episode before. This was a gift from somebody. It's from Trader Joe's, wine infused sea salt, and it's also got a little rosé, pink peppercorn, and rosemary. So I thought this would be nice, and it's in big, it's a grinder. I wish I could get them out. I don't want to crack the top, because I would have smashed them with a hammer to emulate the Malden. But I ground it, and it's still pretty big flakes, so that's what we want. That's going to go after we do this. I've never set my foot in a Trader Joe's, honestly. I have nothing against them. There's just none near here. All right, here comes the fun. I rinsed my hands real well. You ready? Olive oil on there. Look at those air bubbles. And I'm going to push it out to the corners. Fill this tray. Remember, I've got the parchment paper down there on the bottom to hopefully keep from sticking. You want to make big, big dimples in this thing. And let's get it out all the way to the corners on all sides if we can. All right, I think that's good. Let's take our salt now. See, it wants to stick to the side. So let me get some oil all the way around. I thought I oiled the sides, but it doesn't appear that they're too slick. So let's go all the way around. Punch down a little more. And now let's take that salt, and you can be generous with the salt on here. Okay. Focaccia. All right, we're at 410 convection, and this is called the Breville Smart. I did a whole episode on it after my sisters gave it to me. I love this thing. So technically you would go 25 minutes, but since it's 410 convection, look, it's saying 18. It's telling me that. So let's pop this in. And that gives me enough time to hit the shower. I'll see you in 18-20 minutes. Nothing quite like that midday shower after busting hard outside all day. Oh boy, did that feel good. And the bonus is popping that bread in the oven, heading up to the shower, and then when you step out and start coming down those stairs, the whole house is filled with the aroma of focaccia. You know, that's the old realtor's trick, right? Bake some bread before you show the house. I'm looking over at the Breville, 55 seconds. Let me flip this camera around and let's get her out of there. All right. That was the timer. However, I told you it was 18 minutes. I'm going to pop her back on for another 2 or 3. Because I'm only at 510. I do have the convection on. And actually, maybe what I'll do is rotate this because I see it's a little browner up front. We'll give it a 180. Actually, it feels pretty good and hollow. But let's give it about 3 more minutes. I got some new color on there, and I popped my little thermometer in there, which I lost. I've been looking all over for. And I found it last weekend out in the compost pile as I was turning it. And this hit 190, which is perfect for the interior of this bread. So I've got a cooling rack over here. Look, the parchment paper did its job beautifully. Oh yeah. Look at these air bubbles. The old bottom tap test. That's hot, but I can deal with it. Oh, look at the color under there. This is going to be a beauty. Now you don't want to cut this. This is hot. And there's still stuff going on inside. Steam is being redistributed. Let it cool completely. Any bread. And this gives me time to make a little store run. I can't wait for this. All right, this is going to be for supper. I'll show you what we're going to do with this when I get back from the store. I got something planned for this. See you guys. It's 2:45. I'll see you guys in the 5-6 p.m. range. See you then. I left you guys, what was it, around 3 p.m., did some shopping, left the focaccia on the counter to cool and relax, and now I'm ready for supper. And by the way, it's 8:12 p.m., so I'm getting a late start. Don't blame it on me, man. Blame it on Jim. Bread looks unbelievable. Blame it on Jim. Beam! No, I got way late. Actually, I visited a neighbor, and he poured a beautiful tempranillo. We had 1 glass of wine, chatted before his wife got home from work, and I left them to do their dinner, and now I'm back. And I'm eating a little late, but on a Saturday night, I have no complaints. So come on over to the board. I had a plan for this focaccia even before I decided to bake it. Let me show you what it is. So we have a new deli in Kingston, an Italian deli. Not new, they've been there for a year, but I didn't go until yesterday. And it is a beauty. I used to drive either to Rossi's in Poughkeepsie or down to Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. But now, right there in Kingston, we've got the meats and cheeses. There's our focaccia. Look at that. Now, full disclosure, you know we value quality control very highly on this show. I cheated. Before I left, I cut off a little slice because I had a salad for lunch before I left. And I just wanted to check it out, and it is something else. So what I'm going to do, it's sandwich time. That should be a good size sandwich at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. If I need more, there'll be more, but I think that's going to be supper. So let's cut this right down the middle, horizontally. Success. And what we're going to do is, this is the olive tapenade. Let me tell you, making it the night before was the key. It just mellowed out. And this is, you know, for lack of a better word, this is your mayonnaise, your condiment. So I'm going to spread it on good. Oh, just the aroma of it. It's pretty potent, so you don't need a lot. But I want to thinly coat the bread all the way on both sides. Oh, it's just jumping up at me, the aroma. Okay, olive tapenade on both sides of the bread. Now that deli I was telling you about. I need a little nick. I got some mortadella. Now, the trick to a good sandwich is building it properly. You don't want to flatten your meats down. If you notice, I'm just going to kind of fold them on. Mortadella. That piece was lost to attrition. Some salami. Nice and spicy. I actually don't remember what the exact name of this one was. But it's good. Same thing. Quality control. And then a nice sharp provolone. With the olives, this is almost reminiscent of a muffaletta, the famous New Orleans sandwich, but it's not. They don't just use a tapenade, they have an actual olive kind of salad that they put on. Which, by the way, this deli sells in the jar. And a muffaletta would not have these greens, but these are those greens. I told you I went to that beautiful farm market at the YMCA. These kids, these teenagers grow this stuff, all organic. So I'm going to pile on some salad greens, various lettuces. All right. Let's see what we got here for this sandwich on focaccia bread with the olive tapenade. Salami, mortadella, provolone. Unbelievable sandwich on the focaccia bread. So many uses for that. You can just dip it in oil, make sandwiches. I had a piece with a little olive oil to dip with my salad for lunch. Good bake. We'll see you for the next episode.
Come on, let's do it.
Just me and Jim on a Saturday night. Beam!